Well, this is a probate hearing, and we're here to determine the case of Rosemary Edwards versus the Edwards Corporation. A dispute that encompasses the estate and the intellectual properties of the recently deceased CEO of the corporation, Mr. Abel Marion Edwards. Beta, not the first. Now, with that said, please continue with your knowledge of Mr. Warren Hastings' company journal.
Let me clarify, Chairman Lowry. My intention for the newsreel was as an introduction to Mr. Hastings' AMEP. That is, the content of the film served as the corporation's guide and blueprint.
Old news footage?
Old news footage about the founder of what we know today as the Edwards Corporation, or the EC. With the AMAP clone program, it was the EC's goal to resurrect the creative mind and body of the original Abel Edwards.
For what purpose?
For half a century, the EC's profit margins had plateaued. The corporation was no longer growing. 90% of all households already owned at least one of their products. They'd saturated the market.
For the record, what is the primary product of the Edwards Corporation?
We manufacture androids.
Thank you. You may continue.
After the company continuously failed to increase its earnings, the chairman of the board developed a plan.
Which was?
To bring back Abel Edwards.
Roger that, Nero. Cargo is confirmed and you are cleared for landing.
Last night, we confirmed the first successful cell split and continued growth activity within our embryo derived from the Edwards sample. With this information, the Abel Marion Edwards project, tentatively called AMAP, is moving forward into phase 2. As you know, if successful, in 9 to 12 months, we shall see if we have our new chairman.
And then what, Mr. Hastings? He's running the company? Is he going to emerge fully grown?
Of course not. He won't be taking over the reins until he's, say, 25. To fully develop a clone, accelerated growth hormones won't work. Therefore, we're going to have to age him the old-fashioned way, with time. My wife and I have agreed to fulfill the role of caregivers, and will oversee the child's educational process.
Well, frankly, Warren, I don't see how you're going to be able to oversee the company and take on this project.
Well, I won't. That's why I'd like to bring you up as co-chairman. I'll manage AMAP and our production lines, and you'll tend to our investors. All those in favor, say aye.
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 So instead of reviving the frozen Edwards, the company chose to clone him.
That is correct. Cryogenics has never been a fully successful process. The crystalline tissue damage is far too great for any human to successfully be revived.
Just to be clear, you guys didn't thaw him out like a piece of meat. You grew him in a petri dish.
Something like that. Yes.
You may continue.
I was assigned to Mr. Edwards.
Assigned.
Like Edwards, I am a product of the EC.
You're a mod.
No, not a modified android. I am what the public calls a half-life. Half android, half human. Very rare. One of a kind, in fact.
We've developed a cybernetic life form to accompany the young Edwards.
We've made him a friend?
Yes, Mr. Bowerman, a peer. Someone for him to turn to. Someone to grow up with. But ultimately more. As we cannot put a man's mind or his memories into a cloned body, we must make the clone experience life-affecting events that will guide him down a similar path to that of the original. We want the clone not only to have Edward's body, but his creativity and his emotions, too. Through various applications and techniques, the GL7 will serve as a tool to shape the clone's mind.
We know that his friend is artificial?
Yes, and let me explain why. We do not intend to hide from the clone his origins or our expectations of him. We believe that the more open we are, the more successful the project will be. For the clone to know that the GL7, whose name will be Gower, by the way, is manufactured much like himself, should create a bond of trust. In a way, they're brothers of sorts.
That's an awful lot for a child to absorb. He will still be a person.
You don't have to remind me, Mr. Edmonds. That's what we're all hoping for. No, we don't need to have another efficiency meeting. Edwards is right on schedule. Listen, Franklin, every day you call me with your concerns that he's going to be the end of us. But you're wrong, and I didn't divide my position just so that you could interfere with the program.
You're right. You're right. It's just that sometimes I think people forget that this is a clone we're talking about here. I'm sorry if I've overstepped my boundaries. It's just that
Well, sometimes it seems like it, so I'm just telling you.
On a related matter, Gower reported that Edward's eyes aren't responding properly to the retinal scans. Now, the engineers think that if we lower the SR frequency in his terminal, that we might be able to turn it around.
Just take care of it, and be assured that everything is according to plan.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yes, you do that.
Good night, Warren. You and the missus take care now.
Yes, Mrs. Hastings and I will.